Thank you for the torch.
Like would you get a shirt or a jacket or something back from the cleaner's on.
Right.
Just kind of pull it down into a ring. They would take you caving with them if you could get through that hoop.
All candles are out. The other bits. So there's Edinburgh Castle at night. Impressive, isn't it? Right, I'm walking back to the B&B. It's been raining ever since I arrived, pretty much. The tour was pretty good. They wouldn't allow filming on it, which is why I only did the surreptitious bits in the vaults when she wasn't doing her bit. Quite a good guide. Not brilliant, but good. Better than a lot I've done. But she could make some improvements. She's not me. For which I'm quite grateful actually, because that would be a bit weird. But I'm now going back to the B&B, which is a long walk in the rain, and tomorrow I'm going to try and pack in 100 things into about 12 or 13 hours, which will clearly not be an easy thing to do. But I'm amazing. I'm in Edinburgh, bustling city. I'm right underneath the castle, and apart from a group of French tourists behind me, it's completely deserted. It's really weird. Maybe it's the rain. Maybe Scottish people melt in the rain. I think that's quite possible. And so, another day in Edinburgh. Slept all right. Wasn't too warm, but it's not raining at the moment. It's going to rain later on. There's some big memorial thing. This is Princes Street. This is a main shopping thing. That's a bus, and there's another one. Just one of the hundreds of closes around Edinburgh. old tenement blocks is all over the place. Because Edinburgh seems to be like in two bits. There's a higher bit and a lower bit, and all the streets cross over each other. And you have to use these steps to get from one to the other. Very interesting. Ah, well, there's no filming in there, which is a shame because it's very extensive. Good tour, lasted an hour, shown masses of places. It's a huge, extensive site underneath there. No photography whatsoever because it's a official building, but they didn't stop me taking probably about 10 with my camera when everybody had left the room very quickly and surreptitiously, so we'll have to see what turns out on those. They might all be crap. Anyway, I have still got over 2 hours before I've got to meet Alan yet and go down to Rosslyn Chapel. Oh, interesting view over here. Have a look at this. It's good, isn't it? So I'm going to possibly go and do something else, then I'm going to have something to eat. Mind you, 1:05 now, I might go have something to eat now and then do something else. You're not interested in this, are you? No, I'm going to turn it off then. Right, okay. I'm now in the camera Obscura in this World of Strange Images thing, and I love it. It's great. Look at this. Da-da-da-da. Jules Verne. Probably won't mean a great deal as is. It's me. It does look like it stretches on forever, although of course it doesn't, and you're not going to see that on 2 dimensions, which is a shame, because for all you know I could be lying.
You gotta move this way. Okay.
I didn't think these mirrors could be funny, but they are. Although I don't seem to be looking too weird in some of these. No. Camera's not doing its job properly. Oh well. But they're not there. They're not there. They're down there. I'm here talking to some glass in the thing. Ooh, largest in Europe. I've never used one of these before. Don't want to let you keep myself. Alright. Hey. The power of Philip's hand. I says to use my other hand on the fluorescent tube. But I don't know if I should. I'll electrocute myself. No. Oh, look at that. Maybe you didn't see that, but I lit up the fluorescent tube with my hand. I'm going to take a photo. This one's not fun. And it's big. No, I haven't, but to pay to go into a chapel, I wouldn't do that out of principle.
Well, restoration.
But it should be voluntary.
I take your point.
Honestly, I'm impressed with the restoration so far.
That thing that looks like a farm building, by the way, for the sake of narration, is Rosslyn Chapel. As in Da Vinci Code, Rosslyn Chapel. That is a tree smited. So, we did the stuff at Rosslyn Chapel, as was needed. Photographs. Nothing more than that. Not able to say anything. And surprise, surprise, back in Edinburgh, just had a meal, and it's pouring down with rain, and it's very windy and very cold. This in the second half of May. Disappointing. I'm wearing canvas shoes, so my feet are soaked. I'm hanging around for the best part of an hour for another ghost walk tonight. There is one starting, but it's not the one that I'm planning on going on. And there's so many beautiful things in Edinburgh to show you, and unable to show them to you because you're not allowed to see them because they're secret. Got it? Good. We're going to show you Mercat Cross, which has a cow in a dress with a blue face. Not joking.
But just before we...
These are better, aren't they? Great stuff. Yeah. Fantastic.
Just to set the scene for you, is were left empty. They were filled in with rubble and forgotten about for about 150 years. Until we came along. We began excavating, digging up these vaults in the 1980s. And in 1996, what we have down from these vaults is one of these episodes. Don't watch out for the only spirit in this room. Often customers will feel a fluttering sensation at their face, as if a bird is flapping in front of you, and may come out the vaults with scratches and scars on their faces. It's clear that what's ever in here, especially the Watcher, is very malevolent, very unpleasant, doesn't want us to be down here. So I think with that, we should probably move on. He's a cobbler making shoes. A favourite thing of his to do when we're down here is look at our shoes, see what types of footwear people are wearing these days. He likes a good solid pair of leather boots, such as you're wearing, but really can't understand this new fashion of trainers. Oh dear. He might be a bit disappointed tonight, but don't worry, he won't be angry, because he is just a very kind old man.
Yes, of course, I'm only good.
Okay? And it's said that his presence here is acting almost as a positive force. It's keeping the Watcher out of this room. In this room, in May 1996. It was only 2 months after the vault had been opened to the public. It was a busy summer's night. And 3 tours were due to come down in quick succession, one after the other. The first tour came down, and they didn't feel particularly scared. The vaults that night weren't all that atmospheric. However, all that seemed to change when they got to this room. The atmosphere turned sour, you could say. And as they were thinking about this, they were storing things like wine and things like that, just for storage. Now, the rest of the group back to the surface and come back down and try and catch this woman. He eventually caught her and calmed her down, and she told him her story. It appeared that as she was standing at the back of the group against the back wall, listening to the guide telling his tale, she began to feel a breath on the back of her neck. Strange, as nobody was behind her. The breath moved round to the front of her face. It was a hot, whiskey-smelling breath. She thought how extremely unpleasant it was. But then began to hear a whisper, and the whisper said, "Get out, get out, get out!"
Nee, das wird immer weiter.
Building you can see in the distance is an outbuilding of the palace, I think.
Oh, right.
We're very close to it.
Weil ich höre mehr aussehen kann, das Mühe und was weiß ich halt. So, und gucken die aber auch immer diese Horrorfilme. Dann muss ich den mir auch immer mit angucken. Das ist immer total fies und ich weiß nie, wie die heißt. Ist mir auch relativ scheißegal. Ich will Hälfte der Zeit schon gerade der Decke auflegen. Irgendwo von denen muss ich schützen.
It's very wet and muddy here. Instead of coffins, they'd have simply buried in cloth sacks. But also, in times of plague, not even the rich would be afforded a good burial. When plague came, they simply had to dig a large pit and put as many bodies in as possible. And another section of society which wasn't afforded a proper burial would be suicide victims. I'm afraid in the 17th and 18th centuries, suicide wasn't really understood as a tragedy that we think of it today. Instead, it was a crime. When a person committed suicide, their corpse would very often be put on trial after death, and possibly even hanged. And they wouldn't be allowed to be buried in proper graveyards. Instead, they'd be buried at crossroads, so their restless spirits wouldn't be able to find their way home. Which is why crossroads are often said to be haunted places in popular tradition.
And the day I leave, doing virtually nothing today. But this is the B&B where I was staying. It was okay. And the sun is finally out. Won't last. As soon as I start walking, it's going to start pissing down again. And something I planned to do when I came to Edinburgh. I'm here at Greyfriars Church, and the grave of a certain doggy. And there lurketh death. Who would have thought the godfather of funk had been dead since 1868? Look at this. Those Scots know how to make monuments. It's a fireplace. There we are. So I'm just walking down some steps now. I'm going to get the bus back to the airport. The video of Earth reaches its tragic conclusion with the death by chewing gum of Patty Brûlée.